I'm going to give you a 4-step plan to set up your next fat loss diet. Step by step, we're going to be filling in a planner for your meal. We'll first determine your calorie and protein goals and how many meals you should have. Then we'll fill in these meals with specific foods. By the end of this video, you'll have a system that you can use to build countless different meal plans that you can actually stick with. And it came down to 2 reasons. The first reason has to do with this healthy breakfast of eggs, avocado toast, banana, and peanut butter. It's a meal that most would think is great for losing fat. But would you guess that this meal alone racks up to over 1,000 calories? These foods are by no means bad, but they can easily take you out of a calorie deficit. It's a reason why the meal plan that I used back in the day never ended up working, and is why you need to be aware of roughly how many calories you're consuming with any meal plan, as it can add up very quickly. Showcasing the dangers of reason 2 is a group of resistance trained males and females from a recent 2021 study, who like me, followed a strict meal plan for 10 weeks. Their meal plan consisted of 4 meals, and they were instructed to only eat foods that were included on their specific meal plan and to not make any food substitutions. Throughout the 10 weeks, they were actually able to successfully lose about 7 pounds of fat. But they then regained much of that as soon as they went off their meal plan after the study was over. The meal plan that we're going to go through today will be both personalized to your body and set up in a flexible way for both short-term and long-term success. Also, as we go through the video, you'll want to download a free copy of the custom meal plan builder that we've created for you. With it, you're going to be able to easily create endless custom meal plans based on your body. And you can download it at builtwithscience.com/meal planner. And I'll also leave a link to this in the description box down below. The first step is the most important step if we want the meal plan to actually work. There's no point adding any foods into our plan if we don't yet know how many calories you can eat to lose fat. Now, most calorie calculators out there are honestly a shot in the dark. They don't consider how much muscle you have, how much you move every day, whether you lift weights or not, your age, your gender, and your height, which all affect how many calories you buy this plan. But to save you from the boring math, we've actually automated these calculations for you into the custom meal plan builder that I mentioned earlier. Within just a few minutes of using it, you're gonna have your goal calories calculated for you. All right, so after calories, the next most important component of your meal plan is how much protein it contains. We want to include enough protein to be able to maintain your muscle as you lose fat. Too little, and you're gonna risk losing muscle. This means ending up just skinny rather than lean and muscular after your diet. As for how much protein you should aim for, a 2018 research study that looked at almost 50 protein studies found the sweet spot to be right around 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. Whether you shoot for the lower end or the higher end of this range, however, is going to depend on your body fat. Those with more body fat are going to require less protein. In the meal plan builder that you can download, we've actually automated this calculation for you as well. Most of you will end up with a goal of 1 gram per pound of your body weight. So for example, a goal of 180 grams of protein if you weighed 180 pounds. Once you have that number, all that we have to do before we fill in your meal plan with actual foods is determine how many meals you should be eating. So the number of meals that you eat per day will determine how many calories and protein will actually go into each of these meals. Although eating more frequently is commonly thought to boost your metabolism, this has been disproven. That being said, protein frequency does seem to be important if you want to minimize the risk of losing muscle as you lose fat. And because of this, there is an ideal range that you want to stick within. This range seems to be between roughly 3 and 6 high protein meals per day, each separated by a few hours. And this is where personal preference is key. Are you somebody who prefers eating more food in less frequent meals, or do you prefer eating less food and more frequently? Whatever you pick should best suit your schedule and keep you full and energized throughout the day. Once you pick the number of meals that you'd like to eat, divide your protein intake up evenly across the number of meals. So for example, if your daily goal is to consume 180 grams of protein and you prefer to eat 5 meals per day, then you'd simply aim to have roughly 35 grams of protein in each meal. Now it's time for the fun part, filling in your meal plan. At this point, some of you may be wondering, what about carbs and fats? How much of those should I eat? While that is a good question, numerous studies have compared the effects of high carb diets with more rice, potatoes, and bread, but less fats like oils, butters, and cheese, versus low carb diets with more fats instead. But as long as calories and protein were the same between the diets, there were no significant differences on fat loss. Because of that, I prefer not complicating things by having you worry about eating specific amounts of carbs and fats. Instead, in the Custom Meal Plan Builder, we're going to provide you with 3 lists of protein, carbs, and fats to use to fill your meal plan with. The foods in these lists are the lowest calorie density options available and will be highly effective at keeping you full. For protein, here are the options and visual demonstrations of what 100 calories of these foods look like. You'll use these to reach your daily protein target. In the downloadable meal plan builder, we've also added vegetarian and vegan protein options to the list. Here's the same for common carb sources. Here's the same for various fruits and veggies. You can see how much more volume you get with fruits and vegetables and why they're such a great way to keep you full when dieting. Here's fats. These you want to be a little bit more mindful of because of how quickly their calories can add up. And finally, here are a handful of low-calorie condiments and seasoning and salt that you can add to your meals as you wish. You can also feel free to add your own items to these lists as well. Alright, so now it is time to use these food lists to create your meal plan. All you're going to do is at each meal, select the foods from each category that you want to eat so that by the end of the day, you get close to your calorie and protein goal by at least within about 10%. So, using our previous example, let's say that your calorie goal is 1900 calories, your protein goal is 180 grams, and you prefer to have 5 high protein meals a day. Jot down roughly the times you'd plan to have these meals. Then let's start with protein. So in this case, you want to try to split up the 180 grams of protein fairly evenly over each of your 5 meals. Pick from the list of protein sources and plug them into each meal accordingly. The carbs and fats that you add in next will also contain some protein, so don't worry if you're about 10 to 20 grams short of your protein goal after this step. After you've selected a protein source for each meal, it's time to pick a carb source. Now, if you're going to be working out, then generally you want to make sure that you include a carb source in the meal before your workout. Other than that, if there is a meal that you want to exclude carbs from, then that is perfectly fine. In our example, it might look like this. So after this, you're going to pick your fat sources. So most people do best when they exclude this category from their pre-workout meal to avoid feeling too full during the workout, but it is totally up to you. Make this your meal plan. Next, based on your preference, pick a vegetable and a fruit to add. So these are going to be the most filling foods relative to their calories, so I'd recommend including at least one into each meal. Last but not least, add your favorite low-calorie condiments and preferred seasonings. Throw in a little bit of your inner chef into each meal and you'll have a meal plan that is both designed specifically for your body and filled with meals that you actually enjoy. You'll also be left with the knowledge and resources to change up your meals however and whenever you wish. And again, to download the free custom meal plan builder we made for you to help you easily create your meal plans, just head on over to builtwithscience.com/meal planner.